Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today is the start of quite a busy day. I've got lots of planting out to do to finish the planting out of 2022. I've just got about 2 beds left to plant out, and then we are done for the spring part of the season. So once that's all done, I can kind of relax a little bit and just wait for those flowers to start blooming. So it's been a busy old week. I've been working a lot this week, and I'm just looking forward to getting all of those plants in the ground and watching them grow. But today, just before the day starts, I just wanted to tell you about something that I'm going to give a go this year that I haven't actually tried before, which is Chelsea chopping. So the Chelsea chop is something that is aligned with the Chelsea Flower Show, which is where it gets its name from, and it is where you would prune late flowering perennials to encourage them to produce flowers later on in the season, or to just manage the growth of them. So this can help if you've got like a large batch of something. If you Chelsea chop half of it, then you can delay the flowering of half of it and enjoy the first half flowering earlier. So what I'm going to give it a go on today is the sedum and some Alchemilla mollis, because usually all of my sedum comes all at once and it's a little bit too much for me, and I love using it, but it is very dense filler and I can't use it all at once. And I'm hoping that this is also going to create more delicate stems, because they can be quite bulky, they can be quite like flat plate-like flowers that are hard to use. So if I can create something that's a little bit more delicate, it might be a bit easier to use. I'm also going to try this on Alchemilla mollis, because I had the same kind of issue with Alchemilla mollis last year. I had too much of it all at the same time. So I'm going to prune half of it down to see whether we can get it to flower a little bit later. This is an experiment, so we'll see how it goes, and I will obviously keep you updated on that. So I'm going to be cutting the plants down by about 1/3 to 1/2, just to try and set them back a little bit, and they can concentrate on building themselves back up again and then flowering a little bit later on than they normally would. So I'm going to give it a go with the sedum first. I'm also going to be, with the lupines, I'm going to chop all of the flower stems off the lupines just to try and get a second flush of flowers out of those. If you've been following me following my videos lately, you'll know that a few weeks ago I got lupin aphid on my lupines, and I actually sprayed them with a concoction of clove oil, washing up liquid. I think that was it. Clove oil and washing up liquid. I'm not sure whether it was that actually caused the lupin aphids to remove themselves from my plants, but as soon as the flowers started coming on the plants, the lupin aphids cleared off. So that meant that I was unable to actually use the flowers, because I had to wait for the lupin aphids to go before I could use them, and then they were just a little bit too late to pick. So I'm hoping that if I prune all of the lupin flower stems right down and put them on the compost, then hopefully the lupins will produce more flowers for me, but we'll just have to see. I'll keep you updated. So let's get on with the sedums to start with. So this is my clump of sedums here, and these were all, I think I only ever put in about 5 or 6 plants, and I've just divided them over time, and I'm not sure how many I've got here now. There's maybe 60 or something like that. They're really easy to separate by just dividing the clumps, and a small clump will become a large clump in a relatively short period of time. So I'm just going to take about half of these down and see how that goes. And I've only got these small secateurs because I really could do with some shears or something, so it's going to take me a little longer than it should do, but hopefully it will work anyway. Oh, hello. I've Chelsea chopped about half of the sedum, just under half probably, and we'll just have to wait and see what happens to that. And very bright this morning. The sedum leaves I'm going to rake those up later and they'll be good for the compost. So now I'm going to just move on to these lupines. I'm going to prune the stems that have flowered back to the ground and hopefully encourage a second flush of flowers. So the important thing with the lupines is to leave the foliage on so that the foliage can continue to make energy, take up energy from the sun to put into fresh flower stems. So even if the foliage looks a bit scruffy, it needs to stay on the plant to be able to feed the plant and produce flower stems. So that is the lupines pruned. I'm hoping that's going to cause a second flush of flowers because, like I said, I didn't get to use them much this year and I love using them. I missed not using them. So now I'm moving on to the Alchemilla mollis. Like I said before, I keep saying like I said before, it's early in the morning, so I'm kind of not really concentrating on what I'm saying or not able to get my words out. So Chelsea chopping is for perennials that are late flowering, but obviously Alchemilla mollis is flowering now. It is late May, early June. It's actually the 2nd of June today and it's flowering now, so it's not a late flowering perennial, but I'm hoping that I can do a little bit of an experiment by chopping it back and seeing what happens when I do that, and hopefully the plants will just regrow and reflower and we can have a staggering of flowers. So I always miss when the Alchemilla mollis finishes flowering. I always really miss it because it's such a good perennial, good filler to have. If you haven't seen it already, then I did a video on my top 10 filler flowers, my favourite filler flowers. I'll put that up in the banner here and down in the description, and you can watch that. But this is definitely up there with one of my favourite filler flowers, so I'm going to just chop that down and see if we can get a later flush of that as well. So I've only pruned a small amount of the Alchemilla mollis because I'm not sure how it's going to work, but if it does work well then I can do it again next year on a bigger scale, and I'm not going to risk losing lots of the flowers that I could potentially be using this year. So that is it for the pruning. I don't think I'm going to prune anything else at this moment in time, so I will keep you updated as to what is going on with those, as I always do. So I hope you enjoyed this video, guys, and give it a thumbs up if you did. Write me a comment if you have done this technique on any of these flowers before, or if there's any other type of flowers that you Chelsea chop and I've had success with. We can all share our ideas down in the comments below. So thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next one.